Greetings and welcome to our November edition of The Place to Be. I'm John Neiman, your host with Father Carr's Place to Be. I'm excited to be here. To tell you the truth, fall is one of my favorite seasons, and Brian from U Bloom did a wonderful job with our fall decor for this November show. I also want to thank our monetary sponsors, Father Carr's and the Oshkosh Herald, which is a great community newspaper, who are sponsoring the show, make it possible. I wanted to do a show about Oshkosh, about the volunteers in Oshkosh, about the events in Oshkosh, about the programs and the not-for-profits. And that's what this show is all about. We learn something new. Every time I do this show, this is our third show, every time I do it, I learn something new. So I'm excited about it. Volunteering has been hard during COVID, but you can still go out and volunteer. You can volunteer in so many different ways. You can volunteer at home. You can actually go to places and volunteer. Some have different guidelines. You follow their guidelines, but you still can give of your time and your talent. Father Carr's Place to Be, I'm very proud of. Been around our community for 47 years. And we rely on volunteers and we rely on donors, which is exciting to know that even during COVID, we did what we did and we did it successfully. Whether it was the men's and women's shelter, whether it was the free clinic, whether it was the food pantry, whether it was our community events, everyone gets together for a good cause and they support it. Our program at Father Carr's, we're not just a homeless shelter. Some people think homeless shelter. We are a life enrichment program. So with our residents at Father Carr's, we get them a job. We get them information on banking and budgeting and financing. We get them support groups because our goal for them is to earn enough money so they can move out on their own and be successful. And so that's our mission, and it's a mission Father Marty Carr started 47 years ago. Project for anybody who wants to do that at home. Last month I talked about Thanksgiving. We serve a meal on Thanksgiving. Last year, 900 meals. We also serve a meal on Christmas Day. Now imagine that. It's on Christmas Day and we get volunteers to leave their home with their families and come and volunteer. To me, that's extraordinary. But we also serve meals that day. It's going to be a drive-through on Christmas Day. Last year, we served 600 meals on Christmas. So I'm looking for tray favors or cards or pictures that we can put with each meal. Again, if you're interested in doing that, or if you want more information, you can contact myself on my cell at 920-279-9873, or you can email me at Father Carr's, my name, John Neiman, at fathercarrs.org. I'll be glad to get you more information. Our donation desk at the Mother Teresa Center is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you want to just drop off your artwork or your children's artwork, we really, truly would appreciate it. And you can't imagine the people, when they get their meals, to get a handmade card. That's just cool. And if it's signed by a child, that's even cooler. So that's what we're all about. We're here to talk about volunteering in our wonderful community. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have our guest from the Oshkosh Public Library.
Let's be real. There are days when every mom wants to tell her kids to take a hike.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Because when you take us hiking
Or let us run outside.
and acting silly, you're making our lives healthier and happier.
So next time when Mom wants you to take a hike,
Tell her to go to beoutthere.org to find fun ideas for helping kids enjoy the great outdoors.
be out there!
The hot buzzwords in our community are community and engagement. And I think to be successful as a community engagement librarian, you have to have a personality. Our guest does. We welcome Sandy, is it Toland?
Yes, it is.
It's Sandy Toland. Her role as Oshkosh Community Engagement Librarian with the Oshkosh Public Library. We welcome you to our show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. When I'm listening to all the things that you do, it sounds so much about the things that we do downtown at the library, helping people achieve the goals and the steps and to make those information needs.
And I'm so glad that you're here because I've already learned so much from you. COVID has affected homelessness a lot. And can you tell me about the charging stations that you guys set up at your library?
Oh, during COVID, when the building was shut down, we still knew that there were people that had needs. So we did a couple things. We created survival bags for people that were homeless and didn't have other places to go, that just had basic needs to make you still feel like a human being during trying times. We also opened up most of our electrical outlets on the outside so you could plug in your phone. We also had charging stations out there so you could charge your device. Right now in the technological age, you can't basically cross the street without having something with you. So when you're looking for resources when you're in a crisis, the last thing you want is to have 2% of your battery. So we were still trying to help and meet the community where we could.
I find that fascinating because with us, people are always saying, oh, the library is closed. What can we do? We need to use a computer. We need to use this. We need this resource. And to know that you guys were meeting all those needs, it is truly collaboration. And you're engaging the community. And that's what I love about this show. I'm learning stuff that I'm involved with this, and I didn't even know that was going on. So kudos to you guys for doing that, because I think that's wonderful. On the bags, too.
Well, kudos to the community. I always say a great community library reflects a great community. And we, during COVID, we were doing weekly community scans, which means we were reading the paper and finding out that women were getting out of the workforce. We were finding out that mental health issues were going through the roof. We found out that people experiencing homelessness during this stressful time was on the increase. So we tried to pivot. We couldn't offer people books or the traditional services anymore. So we could offer what we could. We turned all of our Wi-Fi outward so you could sit in the parking lot and you could have your Zoom meetings if you needed to. We still do that. So if you need a pretty good Wi-Fi band, come to the library, hang out in the parking lot. We lend Chromebooks. So if now with so many people at home and so many things being virtual, it's hard to be engaged if you don't have a device or if you have one family device but 5 people in the home.
Right, you're right.
So Chromebooks can be checked out. Perhaps your issue is adequate broadband. We have hotspots that you can check out. So as the community pivoted, we really tried to pivot along with it to support the people that were moving along.
What a great job. And if there's one word that I don't care if I ever hear again, it's the word Zoom.
Oh my gosh, right?
Isn't that something? I mean, the Zoom, I mean, it's great technology and all that, but we're already on the computer a lot, and then you're on the computer with Zoom, and then something goes wrong and they can't hear you. I remember this one Zoom meeting I was on. This older gentleman was on with us as a representative. He couldn't get the sound to work, so his wife, she didn't know she was on the picture. She's trying to get it all to work, and it's like, yeah, it's just, I love face-to-face and in-person, and we all still have different things that we follow, whether it's face masks or distancing, but in-person is so much better.
A community is community. It's touching people. It's talking to people. Being able to see each other is great. Being able to hug each other is better.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me about this role. How long have you had it? It was created just for you?
It was created for a need. The library was noticing that to be a downtown hub and to really relate to the community, we needed people out in the community. And we had gotten so busy responding to the needs in the building that we forgot that the library is more an idea than a place. So my job specifically is to get out of the building and to go to place. So I go to, and with our giant group of volunteers, we have a volunteer corps of about 80 people that bring stories. They bring roving reading to daycares. We bring home delivery, so people who can't get out, don't want to get out, don't feel comfortable going out, we can bring the materials to them.
I want to tell you about that.
Please.
I knew that you guys did it, and my mother-in-law lives in Fond du Lac, and she's 94, sharp as a tack.
Does she read large print or regular print still?
She will take some large print, but she reads regular print.
God bless her.
She likes political. She likes all this stuff, and we signed her up for the program there.
Mm-hmm.
And they have one person that picks out the books from her list and brings them to her. To me, that is a godsend for
Mm-hmm.
someone who is already was homebound and now homebound because of COVID. Great program.
And when your life ends up being your couch and your walls and your cat, any other story you can get. And besides bringing the stories, someone's at your door making sure that you can answer the door. Someone's
Yes.
calling you to see, how are your materials? Do you like those materials? Those conversations go into, did you eat today? Have other people talked to you? So we're trying to build connection, that one connection at a time. The same way last month when I was watching your show, they were talking about how the university students were calling people. Very similar. We still want to make that connection any way we can.
That was using somebody coming up with an idea and saying, this is how you can still stay in touch with people. I thought that was a great tool.
And it was not on the computer at all. Sometimes the best things are just the things we
Yes.
carry in our pockets, I
Right.
guess, isn't it?
And that was one of the things that we were worried about too at Father Carr's, is everything was in person for us before COVID. So when he had Thanksgiving meals, it was inside and we delivered. We couldn't do that anymore. Our drive-through food pantry was people would go shopping. We can't do that anymore.
Right.
But we get into more conversations with people out in the car when we're giving them their food,
Mm-hmm.
probably than we did before. So we're still meeting their needs, which you said are like social or emotional needs, by just having that simple conversation.
Having a survey, you're rarely going to get what people are thinking about. But when you bring them something and they can see that you're sincere when you say, how are you doing? That's why hairdressers know everything that's happening in the world, because they listen.
That's true.
And they're not asking and putting on the spot. It's the listening component. So
See,
that's my big job.
You are just so right. That's one thing I tell all my interns that I have too. I said, half the battle is just listening. I just want you to listen to a volunteer. You don't have to interject or say anything. Just let them know that what they're saying is worthwhile and it means something to them.
Another thing that we did that came from community listening was during COVID, we started a game and puzzle collection. People are at home. People are sick of looking at their devices and kind of each other.
Yep.
Games can be $25, $30 a piece. So how do we bring together that family? How do we combat that isolation? And how do we give you something to interact with in a new way? Before COVID, you probably were all out doing other things, but now we have to engage with each other again, and how wonderful is that?
Yes, that is true. And because we're all at a variety of stages of that COVID and what we can do. And so that's a really cool concept. Very, very neat.
We got a lot of them donated from Adventure Games. We heard a lot from the community. Well, I checked out your Sorry. I loved your Sorry. Have you seen this game? So board games, they're coming up.
Oh, wow. Okay, so tell me about volunteers. I know that COVID affected your volunteer base. What do volunteers do at the library?
They do anything they can to be ambassadors for us and the community. So again, volunteers were listening. They have a sphere of influence. Many of them are readers. Many of them are quite engaged in the community. If you're going to volunteer for us, you'll probably have your hands in a couple other things. What's happening there? How can we bring those together? So I use them a lot as just community agents of what's going on. Beyond that, they do roving reading. So they bring the kids and the stories out to the community. We have a children's librarian that curates the bags. So maybe it's, let's learn about squirrels today, or the beautifulness of a snowman. But we have a couple roving.
Okay, you said snow and it's
I know.
November, so
I know.
okay,
It's
we're
good.
expecting it. Okay.
I have my gloves over there. It's right. But we have many volunteers who are retired teachers, whose grandkids have grown out of those storybooks, but they love reading to kids. And we just had a social bringing back all the roving readers and getting them excited again, because it just started coming back in September after being gone a year. And I don't know, John, if it was the kids or the adults that missed it so more. There was one volunteer who talked about how she was asked to read the same book 3 times just because the kids loved it. They called her Miss Mary, and to have that connection and to see them get excited. When you don't have story and excitement in your house, there are other places to find that out, and to see in somebody's eye that spark of, I just saw all of that in those words, ain't nothing better.
You're right.
Which is why the home delivery program is just as great. We go to all of the elderly facilities. We also go to people's homes. So there's one woman who's a volunteer for that. She goes to Parkview. She's 96 years old, and every time when I call her and say, are you doing this again? She says, one day I'm going to need someone to bring me things. So she and one of the residents at Parkview have now become friends for about 2 years, and they spend about 45 minutes just talking about books and about stories and having a voice for both of them. Again, those little connections really make that broader connection fabric so much stronger.
And that probably is what keeps her young. I mean, when I look at my volunteer base too, a lot of them in their 80s and 90s, but that's what keeps them going. And you said something interesting before too, which I've known too, is my volunteer can be your volunteer, it can be the hospital's volunteer. A busy volunteer is what they like. They like to be part of the community. I used to have, when you guys used to do your book sales, I had volunteers always at Aurora. They always took off the same day because that was the day of the book sale, and they loved it, and they bonded together over it. So I think that's really, I mean, community engagement is what you're doing.
On a micro and macro level, every time that somebody is having a connection, I've been going to the community pantry, bringing the library there to get cards, to bring books. Back in September when we were doing broadband assistance, I could help people fill that out. And to now go back and, hey, I remember you told me about this book, I really liked it, and now I want to read this book. Or I found Hoopla, that database that you gave me where I can get free movies. It's a godsend. I'm so glad that you told me about that. So it's when you come back and you've realized that what you've said has affected somebody, ain't nothing finer.
And we were talking about this before the show, because when you get as my age, you forget things.
Hi, I'm Sandy.
Yeah, I think my name's John. Oh, I tell you, there are days. But we do our drive-through food pantry every Friday, 8 to 11, and we have various groups there that go up to the cars. Like one will offer Medicaid, how to get Medicaid. One will offer how to stop smoking. It would be perfect to have, like you or someone there to say, do you have a library card? This is what your library card can unlock. There's just so many things.
Well, now that's going to start happening, so be prepared.
Oh, I just think, and you're right, it's a tool that, I mean, I still have my library card from like 8th grade. I still have that card because it meant so much.
Well, and how many of us go through life thinking, I wonder if only I could, I wonder how. And whenever you get to that part in your life, I think that's what the library is there for. The librarians I know are the ones that kind of want to be personal assistants. They're really interested in what's happening. They're very vicariously interested. So if you have a question about that, you could sit all day and just think I can't do it, or call your library, because that's what we get paid to be there for. And I've answered questions about how long you can keep bananas in the refrigerator, how many sock stores are in the area, how do you say what is the temperature in Polish.
Wow.
And anybody on the other end of that phone is going to enjoy the heck out of those conversations. So that's a great place to start.
And I'm a visual person. I don't do Kindle. I can't. I mean, I'm already on a computer or tablet enough.
Right.
So I don't get the news over the computer. I like the hard copy. I like the books.
You want to throw it if you don't like it?
Yeah. And so, you know, people were saying before, libraries are going to be gone. They're the hub. Everything that you guys do. I remember the book clubs, the wine and book clubs that you have. There's just so many things that can bring people together. You asked me before, you know, what book I was reading, and I will admit it on TV that I started reading Harry Potter because of because of my daughter-in-law. But there is nothing like sitting with a book, and I'm the type of person when I get a book, I can't stop.
Even if you hate it, you're going to finish it.
Yeah, I'm going to
finish it. Are you
going
to complain about it?
Probably.
Yeah, right?
But that's just, and I love that, and I love the idea that you're sharing your love of books, which you can tell. I mean, I can't see your face, but I can see your eyes, and you're smiling. You're smiling in your eyes, and you can tell that you love your job.
I do.
And I've learned more about the library today than I've known all along, and I think that is kind of sad on my part too. But like, I was never at EAA till I worked at EAA. I never was at the Paine Arts Center till I worked at the Paine Arts Center. We have all these treasures and jewels, but you don't really learn about them till...
And so many people think of the library as a great place to take your kids for story time. Or it's a great place if you don't have a place to stay during the day to go. And they forget that it can be a place to help you get your second gig. It can be a place to help you do genealogy if you're interested in that.
So as you're talking, they were wisely putting the pictures up. So are these volunteers working with
This is just the community enjoying the community space. And I'm going to keep bringing up the word community and the community space because it is the community's space. Maybe you and some friends want to start a knitting group. Come in. We have space for you. We have study rooms as well. We also have these wonderful benches. I know that being a librarian, when my family and I get together, regardless of where we are, I say, let's go and just check out the library for a little bit because you don't have to pay anything to go. No one's going to say you have to buy a cup of coffee to stay here. And most libraries are touch and feel places. So pick up a book, be curious. And it's not the library of old where it's very quiet and meditative. It's going to be your DIY space. It's going to be your meeting space. It's going to be your, I'm going to stop and read the paper and pick up a take and make kit because I have the grandkids this weekend and we're going to learn how to make paper. So there should be for every person in the community a reason to come down there. And if not, we're not doing our job right, which is I need to listen to see what people are doing.
And when you talked about meeting space, I remember that too. I was on the board for Oshkosh Media. We held our board meetings in the lower level. AVA, which was the Alliance of Volunteer Agencies, we held our meetings there. It is a great meeting space, and it's nice to get out and to see everything that you guys are doing. Do you still have your gift shop?
We do. It is now just a bookstore. So we don't have the baubles and the things, but we do have a wonderful collection of books, magazines, DVDs, audiobooks. Everything's under $1. You can get all of your stocking stuffers next month right there.
Okay, one of the previous guests was talking about a T-shirt from another area.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm working, slowly working on that. They've put me in charge of swag, and swag I will. So be on the lookout. We now have very jaunty bags that say Oshkosh Public Library. We had some mugs when we were doing the COVID clinics, doing vaccinations on Tuesdays. If you got vaccinated there, you got a mug.
Cool.
So we're working on becoming the place that has the cool swag.
And
Insert cup here.
And I think that is really neat because everybody's proud, especially volunteers. Volunteers are so proud of where they volunteer. They want to wear that stuff, and that would be...
We keyed in on that for summer reading. All of our summer reading volunteers got a summer reading T-shirt so they could wear it while they were at the desk, high-fiving all the kids that were coming out. They could wear it at the farmer's market to remind everybody in a family that reading is important, and you can have a reading challenge, adults versus kids. Let's see who can read the most this summer.
There was my son, his daughter is 2, Lucy is 2, and there was one book that she loved a lot, but they didn't want to buy the book.
Sure.
So they kept checking it out from the library, and they kept going to get it because she loved that one book. She's 2, but she can read the whole book to you now. And I was going to buy it for her because that's just kind of papa I am.
Yeah.
But they said, no, she loves to go to the library and she loves to see the people and she knows exactly where the book is. It's that touchy, feely experience kind of thing.
And that experience that makes you feel good. So when you're 5 and you find your book, and then you can find the book on your own, when you're an adult with a 5-year-old, you remember how great that feels.
Yes.
And so that's how we keep you in year after year after year coming back.
So do you have a huge staff at the library?
The Oshkosh Public Library is part of Winnifox, the whole system. So the library itself probably has close to 50 people who work in front and behind the scenes.
Okay.
We have a big staff of people that make the library materials. We have the frontline staff. We have drivers that take the books all around to the different libraries. And then we have a marketing department trying to get our message out, and then me trying to recruit volunteers, get our message out, and to hear what the community needs.
And then the volunteers supplement all of that.
We couldn't do half of what we did without our volunteers, both hearing what the community needs and to be able to get the library out of our building into the community.
So do you have anything special we have a couple minutes left that you want to talk about in November or December with the library?
Well, thank you for asking, John. We just started in October bringing back memory cafes. If you're aware of that idea,
Yes.
They're in Neenah and Menasha. There's one at the downtown Y. The library had one pre-COVID, and we're just now getting it back. The October one was great. It's the second Wednesday of the month from 1:30 to 3.
Okay.
If you are a caregiver or somebody with Alzheimer's or brain health issues, you can come in and have a safe social place, a little bit of conversation, a little bit of laughs, a cookie, and a good feel.
That is just really, that's so needed too. And like you said, also for the caregiver, you know, to get them out and about, because being a caregiver is taxing.
You need a community to refill your cup when you are
Yes.
constantly making sure the other cup is okay.
Yeah.
So we're doing our part, and it's growing. So it's going to be, I'm very excited to bring that back. In December, for the Memory Cafe, we're going to have the madrigals. So you can come in, you can get that good feeling. We might have some mulled cider, but we're going to ho, ho, ho all over you.
Oh, and can you imagine the memories? I mean, when you have somebody listening to a song that maybe they sang 30, 40 years ago, or they heard, that just does it right there, because it's memories and it's Christmas. I mean,
Right. And it's going to hit all of your senses. So it's going to just really just wash you in a sense of good cheer.
oh, that is really. I hear you're way ahead of me on Christmas. I know I'm on Thanksgiving right now, but it's like all that stuff is coming with the snow.
It is.
And the weather, and with the snow brings the warm, snuggy blanket and the slippers and a good book and a cup of coffee.
There you go. We're your one-stop shop
Yeah,
for that good feeling.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to see the swag, because I will have to go purchase one. I mean, the other guest was so adamant about that T-shirt that that I have to be adamant about it. Is there one? We're winding down. One last thing you want to share with us?
Again, the great community library reflects a great community. So we already are reflecting how wonderful things are in Oshkosh. If you want to volunteer, come to our website, oshkoshpubliclibrary.org. On the far right-hand side, get involved.
Very, very cool. Well, we could talk so much more, especially during the holidays and all that, with Sandy. We appreciate you listening. This is what the show is all about. It's about community. It's about engagement, all these keywords, which is her title. So Oshkosh is the place to be. There's so much going on in our community, stuff that I don't know about and I love to find out about. So if you know of something going on in your community with a group, with a volunteer group, with a not-for-profit, with an event, please contact me. My information will be at the end of the screen. Let me know. We can share that information during the show. We can have them on as a guest. That's the purpose of the show, the place to be, Oshkosh. Again, I want to thank our guest, Sandy, from the library. Great information. I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Bloom Florist, again, for the wonderful set design. I want to thank the Oshkosh Herald, which is a great community newspaper. You can find out everything that's going on. And also thank Father Cars for being a wonderful sponsor for this show. That's all I have for now. I'm speechless because I've learned so much, and that's the big thing, to learn. When you can meet someone and you can learn what's going on. So thank you once again, Sandy, for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And thank you guys for watching our show, the place to be, Oshkosh. You know, you want to see when it replays, you can go to Life TV 2. You also can go on YouTube to Oshkosh Media and learn more about us. And stay tuned, because we'll have plenty of more shows in the upcoming months. Thank you very much. I'm John Neiman with Father Carr's Place to Be.